The human body is a series of levers and pulleys, levers and pulleys being the joints and muscles, and this all starts from the bottom of the body, or the toes especially. All the muscles that make up the flexors of the toes, the arches of the foot, and so on up the chain. As we start to move up, we begin to get into the Achilles tendon, which brings together the calf, the soleus, and the gastroc, which are the largest the first large muscle group in the body that really helps to dissipate force as we walk and run and stand. So we've got the calf complex, which is a big shock absorption system below the knee. And if you notice here that the gastroc crosses the knee joint and helps with posterior stabilization of the knee. Oftentimes people tend to overly stretch our gastroc and calf complex, which can decrease the stability in the back of the knee. The next main posterior chain muscle or muscle group are the hamstrings, the biceps femoris on each side. Then those are on the lateral side. Then you have the medial semitendinosus and semimembranosus on both sides, tendinosus, membranosus. And then as we move up the chain, we have the glute max, which is again the largest or the most powerful muscle in the body, the glute medius. Those muscle groups help to stabilize the pelvis and the hips. From there, we're moving up into the erectors of the spine, iliacostalis, lumborum, and then ultimately into the latissimus dorsi, which are the next large muscle group in the posterior chain. As we move up the body, we get into the lower traps, the trapezius in general, which is split up into the lower, the middle, and the upper trapezius. Because of our forward rounded posture from looking down all day, we tend to engage the upper traps a lot more than the lower traps, because the upper traps pull the shoulder blades up. Let's go back to skeleton. The upper traps pull the shoulder blades in an upward position, and the lower traps tend to pull down on the shoulder blades. So those are opposite movements. Unfortunately, because of our everyday positioning with looking down at phones and computers and just in general looking down, the upper traps tend to fire up to protect the spinal cord. So on and so forth. We go up the chain in the posterior chain of the body. Then we have all these muscles underneath all the way up the spine. It's hard for me to get to them on here, but that's kind of an overview of all the posterior chain muscles.